Welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Corey Tickner, your host of Epic Travel Talk, and today our lovely and elegant guest is Beverly Vickers of Regent Seven Seas Cruises. Beverly's going to help introduce or reintroduce Regent Seven Seas to you, whichever the case may be. So welcome, Beverly. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for the lovely introduction from a even lovelier lady. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Beverly, there are many cruise lines that are out there. So
Yes.
Who is Regent curated for? And what differentiates Regent from the other cruise lines?
And the cruise lines. Okay, good. Two good questions. Our product is essentially perfect usually for kind of a 50, 55 plus crowd, people who have reached the point in their lives where they deserve a little better. They've saved a lot, have worked hard, and have just realized that now it's their time to see the world in a more comfortable way. You know, gone are the days of backpacking through Europe with the bathroom down the hallway. It's now time to do it in a very comfortable style. And so that tends to be our market. Not to say we don't get some families. There are many grandparents, parents who like to travel in that style, and they want to introduce their children and grandchildren to that as well. So we do attract a small number of families during the summer months, but essentially it's a 50 plus crowd. So as far as how we are different, there's many things that we do. I think probably the most relevant thing, I think, if I was to explain us the most quickly, would be to say we are the most inclusive cruise line, which is a very relevant point. Our marketing people would say that overall it's the unrivaled experience of Regent that's the most important. But I think for those who haven't sailed with us, the inclusivity of it is very interesting. And people never quite understand the extent of those inclusions, which I know you do. So yes. To know that nobody includes as much as we do, from airfare to laundry to excursions, is very relevant. And having a small ship environment, which people really are appreciating these days, maximum 750 guests. The hospitality that is delivered on board is amazing. It's more like a family, and I know you've experienced that. So and the ability to access ports around the world that larger ships can't is very important as well. So basically we take this beautiful little floating boutique hotel that delivers an amazing culinary Epicurean experience. Ask people delve deep into wonderful countries is really, what we do.
And I love Regent very much. And I feel that once you're on board, you really become part of the Regent family. I know just recently we were cruising we were in Abu Dhabi for the day, and we were going through the cruise ship terminal. And I know I'm going off topic here for a second, but I have to tell you this because it was so great. We're walking through the terminal, and our butler from like a year and a half ago on a sailing started Mr. and Mrs. Tickner kind of thing to us, just remembered us, came up, and story, it really is. And we chatted for a while. He was just there visiting because he wasn't on that particular sailing, but it was incredible. Regent definitely is different.
Well, it's funny because we talk a lot about how spectacular the ships are, and there's no doubt they are. I mean, all suites, mostly balconies, the adornments, especially if the newer ones. But it's the feeling that brings people back. So you can say you have the best hardware, best ships in the world, but if your software, your people aren't delivering that, then you're for naught. So Absolutely. That is why people return. That word family that you used is very common. If you speak to our repeat guests, they'll use that word quite often. Well, always, actually.
Exactly. Well, we were just amazed. And we shouldn't have been amazed because we've had that experience, but that was just wonderful. So we'll remember that for sure. Now, why small luxury ship? And by that, I mean, why would somebody get on a small ship on a very big ocean and sail? So like, what are the benefits and values of going with Regent Seven Seas on a small ship and cruising the large ocean?
Well, I mean, if you think, first of all, and people often ask me about world cruises, for example. World cruises are probably some of our first cruises to sell out, so they're very high in demand. And the people who haven't done them often say to me, gosh, that's an awful big world and a very small ship. How is that ship going to fare? And it's interesting because if you think back to how big ships were 50, 100 years ago, our ships are massive by comparison.
Yeah.
So it's just as the cruising industry has grown and the ships have become like floating cities. So, you know, our ships actually fare very well on the large ocean. In fact, our smallest one, the Seven Seas Navigator, of 490 guests, she actually was originally built, her hull was built as a Russian icebreaker, believe it or not. So she knows how to get through those waves. So, and a lot of people often ask about stability, but that's usually a question. And really, that's really about how a ship is constructed, not the size of it. So it's the depth of what they call the draft under the water. So the size of the ocean, the smaller the ship, it's the movement shouldn't be an issue. It really isn't. But as far as accessing ports of call, I think that's why it's very important. As you're traveling to far-flung places, the more adventurous your bucket list gets, then the smaller ships are better because they can access places. Even our itinerary planning, we often plan to be in places off rotation where we're not encountering people from mega ships at the same time.
Right.
So we can plan those kind of things. And then, of course, getting on and off the ship is a breeze. You're only traveling with a few hundred instead of a few thousand, so it does make a difference. Yeah.
That's right. It does. There's no lineups, so which is
No,
key.
it's really,
yeah,
it is key.
it
Very
is key for a
important.
lot of people.
Mm.
Now, Regent has a beautiful a fleet, and they're known for having the most luxurious fleet at sea. I know Regent has 5 beautifully crafted ships sailing the oceans, but there's something very grand on the horizon.
Even grandier.
Yes.
There
So
is.
would you please
There
share
is.
some of the exciting details of the newest
Very exciting.
member family
Very
of the Regent
exciting.
Seven Seas Cruises, the Seven Seas Grandeur?
Yes. Yeah. Well, she's actually the triplet. She's the third in a series of ships. If I go back to 2016, the Seven Seas Explorer, we introduced her, and she was very quickly given the name of being the most luxurious ship in the world. She received many awards and has continued to do so. Now, being the first in the series, there's always a little something you think you can improve on. Not much in her case, but there was the odd couple of things. So when we came to build her sister, the Splendor, we obviously tweaked a little bit to make her absolute perfection. Now, the poor Splendor, she arrived about 6 weeks before the dreaded COVID. So the poor Splendor, really, a lot of her sort of pomp and glory never happened. So she kind of missed out on a lot of the big celebration. But the Grandeur is the third one. We are presenting as a heritage of perfection. We believe we've perfected our ship, the experience, the physical layout, and the Grandeur is drawing from all that perfection of the other two, and even more so. So we're really excited, and hopefully there'll be no worldwide crises that will prevent us from launching her this November, and we're very excited.
Yeah.
750 guests. We haven't changed the design. As I said, pretty near perfect before. So all suites, all balconies, and those beautiful, spacious public areas.
And just a little bit in decor, a little bit of a change.
Yeah, a little bit of decor, probably a little bit more Art Deco perhaps than the other. Very rich, but perhaps a lot of creams and golds and blacks and some really dramatic stuff. The main dining room is especially, I think, fascinating because they've created it to look a bit like an enchanted forest. The artist renderings look incredible, where it's almost as if you're dining under these arches of trees that are built in, and then the canopy is sort of full of, I think it's Swarovski crystals, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be quite magical, very tasteful, but very magical.
Very nice. Well, I've sailed on the Explorer 3 times now, Splendor twice, and supposed to be going on the Grandeur in October 2024. So you want to find out more and sail with me, be sure you reach out to me.
That would be a good thing to plan for, wouldn't it? Good celebration.
So really looking forward to that. That's great. Now, Regent Seven Seas Cruises offers multiple of sailing. So you can do like 7 nights. You've got your grand voyages, and of course the most regal and coveted of them all, the World Cruise.
Yes.
My dream someday, let's hope. But Regent also offers quite a collection of voyages, special voyages as well. And one that kind of want to highlight on is the Spotlight voyages.
Spotlights. Okay.
Can you please just share a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. People often ask me, do I have themed voyages? And it's not that we have a theme, but we do quite often create the enrichment on board around a certain topic. So this is what we call our spotlights. And we find that our clients are particularly interested in learning something when they're on holiday. Maybe they haven't had a chance to do a lot of learning while they've been busy at work and raising kids. So, of course, very popular themes are the culinary arts and anything to do with wine. Those are very popular. So we have a full range of those. We typically align ourselves with several very famous high-end wineries from around the States or Europe, and several different chefs. But in addition to that, we also present some interesting topics such as ancestry, spotlight on ancestry, where Ancestry.com has partnered with us and will conduct some interesting little workshops. And with Ancestry, you have a chance usually to be in contact with them in advance to actually discuss your own personal story, and then perhaps even take that off the ship. And after the cruise, they often take you to the places where perhaps your family has been from. So that's a really interesting one. And the other one that's always is very popular is the spotlight on world wars. As the fascination with World War history is still very, very prevalent, particularly around the Normandy Beach area. So that spotlight usually involves some retired military guests, quite often documentarians who are from PBS, who perhaps might be talking about what they've done. And then what's another one? Oh, spotlight on Fabergé. The Fabergé company. Yeah. So to launch the Seven Seas Grandeur in November, Fabergé is actually creating a bespoke egg for us, and they're going to actually reveal this spectacular thing on board, and there's supposed to be a surprise inside. I'm not sure what. So actually Sarah Fabergé of the family, she's going to be sailing next summer on Grandeur and talking about their life, their history, and their products. And sometimes entertainment as well. That's another fun one that we do, Spotlight on Broadway. So lots of fun subjects. The only thing, when you book one of those, you have, and not everybody necessarily wants to be part of the special lectures. So what the client should do is tell you that they really would like to be, so you can make sure we know that in case there are some capacity limits on things. So.
Right. Oh, excellent.
Lots of fun.
Oh, yeah. Sounds that Fabergé one sounds amazing.
It's going to be interesting.
So, yeah, very, very nice. And the ancestry as well, because that's really important to a lot of people.
It certainly
Definitely
is.
To discover their roots. Also, so just to switch topics a little bit to what Regent Seven Seas Cruises is doing sustainability-wise, because we want to make sure that we're protecting and taking care of our lands and oceans.
Absolutely.
So I know Regent does have their sail and sustain programs. So what are they doing right now to lessen the impact on the environment?
That's a big topic. It certainly is big. Well, I think first of all, I would like to share that as an organization, our overall goal is to be at net zero by 2050, which is a lofty goal, but we are definitely committed to making that happen. And that's across every cruise line within our family group. So that's Norwegian, Oceania, and Regent. So that's always in everything we do is with that in mind. So whether it's, wastewater treatment reduction, whether it's plastics reduction on board, many other things, things that the guests would probably notice right now. One of the major investments we made was in the Avera water system on board. So basically you won't see any more plastic water bottles, whereas water is free. We didn't charge our guests for bottles of water, but what we do now is everybody receives their own private stainless steel water flask, and then we have these stations of Vero water, purified water that they can fill. And so no more do we have the plastic waste. And this Vero system is one of the most expensive ones to put in. Some of the top hotels in the world will use it. So that's a big deal. No more plastic straws, for example. So that there's just another example that clients would see. And then, there's so many things. And the other thing on the sustainability side, I think, is making a commitment to who we purchase from, making sure that we are sourcing things that we use and need from companies who have the same philosophy that we do about sustainability. And because our goal overall is to keep the oceans healthy and the world healthy. So it's
absolutely,
it's in our best interest.
Most certainly is. So that's amazing. I'm really glad, and I get excited to hear what you guys are doing, because we want to protect, for future cruises, our oceans and our lands, for sure.
We
right?
certainly do.
So
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all the time we have for today.
I know so much to talk about.
I know, we'll have to do another one.
I'd love to.
So thank you so much for
My
taking
pleasure.
the time.
Absolutely.
I really do
Pleasure, always.
appreciate it. And if you want to find out more about Regent Seven Seas Cruises, please do reach out to me. I know Regent inside and out. I've sailed on them several times, and it truly is an unrivaled experience from start to finish. And as I said earlier, you will become part of the Regent family as soon as you walk on board. It is just a luxury perfected holiday, one you'll never forget, and you'll want to keep coming back on board time and time again.
Yeah.
So again, Beverly, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Corey. Pleasure.
And thank you to our viewers. And that is it for this episode of Epic Travel Talk. Please do reach out to me, Corey, at Epic Luxury Vacations, and may you have an epic day. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.